Ezra 15 and 11. And it says, "But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof." I would like to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle elders, a great millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother Shatia from the Chicago camp, coming back to you with what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And once again, this is 2nd Ezra 15 and 11. It says, "But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and I will destroy all the land thereof." And this precept was inspired by the recent events happening not only in Chicago, Illinois, but around the United States, especially if you live in the South. And it says Chicago summer already setting records as 25th anniversary of 1995 killer heat wave looms. It says summer in the Chicago area has been warmer than normal, and we could be in for several more weeks of sweltering weather. Chicago usually sees high temperatures in the low to mid 80s this time of year, but July temperatures are ranging in the 90s after June tied for the sixth warmest on record here, 5 degrees above. Man, it's like 100 degrees out here, man. Forget that 90-degree madness. This is 100 degrees out here, especially when you got this hot, thick humidity, especially here in Chicago. But nonetheless, it says, "But as the 25th anniversary of Chicago's deadliest weather event on record approaches, nothing in the forecast looks as bad as 95. Okay? It says, starting July 12th in 95, more than 700 people died in Chicago over 5 sweltering days as temperatures soared past 100 degrees, reaching as high as 20 degrees above normal, according to the heat index, which measures how it feels when humidity and temperature are combined. The weather felt more like 126 degrees." And that's true, because I remember that year in 1995. Okay, it was so hot here in Chicago that the Cook County morgue, where they keep the bodies at, did not have enough space for all the people that was just dropping dead. All right, middle-aged to old people, and then you had the young people that tried to be Superman and work out. Their ass was passed out on the ground, about to have a heat stroke. Okay, and it says city leaders, including former mayor, downplayed the danger of the heat, with his human services commissioner saying that we are talking about people that died because they neglected themselves. No city council meetings were called on the issue, which disproportionately affected poor, elderly, and minority populations. All right. So skip to this. In contrast, Chicago's temperatures this year have been about 5 to 10 degrees above normal recently, according to Bochart. The Weather Service's climate predictions forecast at least 50% chance of above average temperatures in Chicago for the next 2 weeks. It's expected to remain above normal through the next month, Bochart said. So basically, we should expect to have 100-degree weather all the month of July and going into the month of August. Okay? And let's skip down. Okay, let's get down to this paragraph. Chicago's OEMC, that's what we call it here for short, Office Emergency Management Communications. So Chicago's OEMC expanded cooling resources Tuesday as temperatures rose. The city has 6 cooling centers as well as 50 cooling buses and various splash pads available for residents, according to a department news release. It says the city has limited the capability of cooling centers, reconfiguring them to accommodate physical distancing because of the boogeyman, and put deep cleaning and disinfecting protocols into place, according to Rich Gaitis, the agency's executive director. All right. And so it's going on to say talk about the 95 heat wave, the most vulnerable people, and all that other stuff. But yeah, but I was inspired by this article because of all this heat that's been going on. And as we all know, this heat is definitely going to mess with the crops. Okay, we already know last year, due to the huge droughts, whether you think it was natural or man-made, regardless of the fact, last year we had a lot of flooding. All right, farmers were not able to yield a huge majority of their crops. Okay, in some places they couldn't even replant, so they had nothing. And now you go to the extreme opposite, where you have scorching heat over 100 degrees. That's going to cause a huge famine. Okay, and so we're going to go to the scripture. And you know what? Let me get the blue letter. The blue letter might be better suited for this one. Because as we all know, when you read the scripture, the Lord talks about famine numerous times in the scripture. Okay, let's go back and let's just type in the word famine. Famine is written in this Bible 84 times. Okay, now if famine is in the Bible 84 times, and this is without the Apocrypha, mind you. This is without the Apocrypha. So let's just stick to this. All right, because I don't want my words to get misconstrued or get a scoffer that says, that ain't the right answer, Ak. So, nonetheless, 84 times. All right, and you have Genesis where there was a famine in Egypt. Okay. Ruth, famine. Let's just read some of these. All right, you have let's see. Let's start with just Genesis 12 and 10. It says, and there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. Let's go to verse Genesis 26 and 1. It says, and there was a famine in the land besides the first famine, that was in the days of Abraham, and Isaac went into Abimelech, king of the Philistine, into Gerar. And then, as we all know, you got the story of Joseph. It says, and unto Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of famine came. Genesis 41 and 56. And the famine was over all the face of the earth. And Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold unto the Egyptians, and the famine waxed sore in the land of Egypt. And see, with all this heat that's just beating down on the United States, you're going to have another year of bad crop yielding, which is going to further increase the famine. But that's all the judgment of the Lord, because when you go to, was it Ezekiel? Or is it Isaiah? I think it's 4 sore judgments. Oh, Jeremiah 24:10 is good, but I think it's in Ezekiel. It says, "And I will send the sword, the famine, and pestilence among them, till they be consumed from off the land that I gave it to them and to their fathers." And that's talking about the Israelites. All right, but that's not only is that going to happen. Not only did that happen in our home, but that's going to happen here too. Ezekiel, I knew it was in Ezekiel. Ezekiel 14:21. It says, "For thus saith Yahweh power, how much more will I send my foursword judgments upon Jerusalem, the sword, and the famine, and the noisome beast, and the pestilence, to cut off from it man and beast." So with this huge heat wave that's beating down on America right now, all right, it's only going to increase the fact that crops will not yield, meaning that people will starve. And if you do want some food, or the food that is left, all right, you're going to have to pretty much cough up your whole paycheck. And that's if you can afford it, because there'll be more demand than supply. All right. And another thing, now this is through the Spirit, which I believe a huge reason why the Lord is bringing this heat wave upon modern day Egypt, which is America, all right, is because if you've been paying attention to the news, all right, you have locusts in South America right now, in the northern part of South America. Let me see if I can find an article on that. Let's see. And locust in South America. Okay, here's an article. Let me go to news. This was 2 weeks ago. It says in Forbes, it says apocalyptic pests, locust swarms hit Asia and South America, affecting millions. All right. And we all know how much locusts love hot weather. All right. So with these locusts making their migration throughout the entire earth, how easy do you think it is for them to move? And they're just moving in weather where it's just 100 degrees. All right. Through the Spirit. Now, I have no way to prove it, but I also believe this is why the Lord is also sending this huge heat wave. All right. So these locusts will have, I guess for a lack of a better phrase, a safe trip to the Americas. Because as we read in Ezra, the Lord said he's going to smite Egypt with plagues as he did before. And one of the plagues of ancient Egypt was locusts. Let me get that. Let's see. Let me get this. Let me put this on pause while it finds it. All right. We're in Exodus 10 and 12. And it says, "And Yahweh said unto Moses, Stretch out thy hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come up upon the land of Egypt, and eat every herb of the land, even all that the hail hath left. And Moses stretched forth his rod over the land of Egypt, and Yahweh brought an east wind upon the land all that day and all that night. And when it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts. And the locusts went up over all the land of Egypt and rested in the coast of Egypt. Very grievous were they. Before them there was no such locust as they, neither after them shall be such. For they covered the face of the whole earth, so that the land was darkened, and they did eat every herb of the land and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left. And there remained not any green thing in the trees or in the herbs of the field through all the land of Egypt. And so, like I said, through the Spirit, I feel this is a huge reason why the Lord is keeping this heat wave going. So these locusts have a safe travel here to the United States. Because the scripture, you have to remember, the Most High is a man that he cannot lie. And we are in modern day Egypt because we're serving hardcore captivity as prophesied in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter and the 68th verse. Okay. And because we are in modern day Egypt, as the scripture says in Ezra, he has to smite Egypt with plagues as before. So this heat wave is bringing the famine. And like I said, through the Spirit, I believe it's providing a safe travel for the locusts to get here and consume whatever's going to be left here in America when they get here. So it's just something that I perceive through the Spirit. I could be wrong, but it's definitely something to keep your eye on. So I hope you all were edified. Until the next time, Shalom.